Welcome back. We still have with us the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Chief Audu Ogbeh, and we've been talking about the growth of the agricultural sector. But let's quickly look at this matter now, the problem, all of this expanding of farmlands is definitely reducing grazing land for herdsmen, and it's something that they're complaining about. You have said that, ranches and grazing reserves is one of the solutions that the federal government is considering. How far have we gone with this?
We've started work on this. When I first came, I talked about importing grass seeds, and I came under missiles of assault. But again, I understand most people don't really know what goes on in the cattle industry. You cannot have good cattle without good grass, special grasses, and water.
You mean none of the grass? I mean, because I also heard that, and I thought maybe because I don't know a lot about agriculture, but then, importing grass.
Seeds, I said.
Seeds?
Grass seeds, yeah.
Are you saying that none of the grass we have here is suitable for our cattle?
One or two kinds of the elephant grass is not a bad one. It has no seeds. You can only grow it by vegetative propagation. Most of the major cattle economies in the world have had to buy seeds from somewhere. Right now, Saudi Arabia has the largest single dairy farm on planet Earth. 135,000 cows on the Al Marai farm. They buy grass, not even seeds, grass in shiploads from Brazil to feed their cows, because they can't grow grass in Brazil, in Saudi Arabia. So when I said that, people were angry. Well, I understand. They didn't understand what we were saying. There are many kinds of grasses here which can't feed a cow. Some will even cut their tongues, they spare grass. Some don't have enough protein or amino acids to feed the cows. So the Brazilians took grass from East Africa, the Kikuyu grass, and developed it into one of the most precious fodders in the world, with 18% protein content. That's why Brazil today accounts for 30% of all the cattle on earth. 205 million cows in Brazil. And the money they make from milk and from beef and from hides and skins, the figures are huge. So we have to grow grass. We are doing 5,000 hectares in each of 8 states in the far northern area where most of the cattle come from. 5,000
hectares of what?
In each of the states.
Of grazing reserve or special grasses?
Of special grasses.
That has already started?
Yes. We've started multiplying more seeds in a place called Pike on Kore.
Did you eventually import the seeds then?
We got some seeds here. We imported some from the Cameroon. They have. Now, if you want to do alfalfa grass from the US, you have to get the seeds. That will only grow in the Mambila or in Obudu or in Plateau. The first thing we need to do is to begin to develop ranches.
So that is still a plan that the federal government is working on?
We're still working on it. We've started.
In conjunction with states or by itself?
States are participating. We are setting the pace and asking states to get involved. But the Mieti Allah group are also now, they've been going around talking to their people, and they are beginning to get to buy into this program. Because the cows are there. They're going to pay back. They are paying, they pay a tax called Jangali tax. On every cow, the Fulanis are prepared to pay a tax if you can give them the water and the grass. It takes every country 20, 30 years, if they ignore agriculture, to get back to feeding themselves. You can't hurry it up.
You are not only the Minister of Agri, you're also from Benue State, where the clashes between farmers and herdsmen has been pretty prominent.
Yeah.
Now, some people say that there's more to it than meets the eye. What do you say to those people?
No, because the place you're talking about, Agatu in particular, is my place. I'm an Idoma man from there. There is this Fadama stretching nearly 70 kilometers by the bank of the river. You have never seen anything more green or more lush. A Fulani herdsman told me once from Senegal that they believe that grazing in that place makes their cattle more fertile, grow bigger, and therefore they'll literally do anything to bring their cows there to graze. And some of them then feel like, well, why can't we simply settle here permanently? I interviewed one of them, there was an interpreter, and he said, well, look, all land belongs to God and all water belongs to God. Why shouldn't we be allowed to go where we wish and feed our cows? That's his own concept. But there are communities that own these lands. You really can't think that way.
I don't know if your monitoring was also going on in Kaduna as well.
Yeah.
You talked about
Same
Benue.
thing.
You know, right now in Kaduna, there are questions as to what precisely is going on there. Those from southern Kaduna are saying that there's a plan to wipe them out and take over their land. And
Yes.
it already happened in some parts of Benue, as
Yeah.
it were. So it would seem that, and then when you listen to the militant who was caught some time ago in Benue State, and you granted amnesty and an amnesty revoked, who said that he was being offered money to destabilize certain parts of Taraba, for instance, that the money wasn't sufficient, that's why he didn't undertake the task, and that he was being paid, he was going to be paid enough to silence the military authorities. You know, this kind of talk cannot be taken lightly. Is the federal government aware of these dimensions? Of course, there will be the genuine part of genuine clashes between farmers and herdsmen, but this sinister underlay, it would seem, you know, has not been explained properly.
The military, the government has set up a committee headed by a general from Enugu to take a close look at this business of herdsmen and farmers, especially those carrying dangerous weapons.
What committee is that?
It's a committee set up by the president, I forgot, General Nze from Enugu State.
Because there's another one been set up by the Minister of Interior, headed up by Professor Oshita.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware of that one.
But this committee, headed by General Nze, is actually to disarm the herdsmen, those carrying weapons. It's not impossible that some mischief maker or makers, maybe up to some mischief, go there and cause trouble. But which reasonable Nigerian will set out, pay people, go there and go and destabilize them? The program may succeed for a while. How long can it last? I do not rule out the possibility of things like that happening. But I don't want to give too much credence to them, because the government of the country is in a position to bring order to this kind of situation.
Wrapping up now, I quickly want to ask you this question. I know that it's not going to take 5 minutes to answer, but let's try. Genetically modified foods. You've talked about quality of seeds. It's something that is topmost in your mind, but then people are worried about genetically modified foods, and especially now that, you know, cancer cases are on the rise. What are you going to do to ensure that those who want organic foods are able to get them, and to ensure that there's some identification, you know, if people want to stay away from genetically modified foods?
I have never felt particularly comfortable about the GMO business. I'm not a scientist, but I know that in Europe, they're very cautious. The Americans, Brazilians say there's nothing wrong with it. Now, the debate sometimes is not between scientists. The debate is in the media. The Europeans avoid it. The Americans say there's nothing wrong with it. We have decided to stay on hybrids for here, to strengthen our university, to do improvement on hybrid seeds, because we do not yet know enough about GMO to go and adopt them wholesale. They've also had problems in some countries. They applied it to cotton in Burkina Faso. Last year, the crop failed completely, and the Burkinabe were very angry. So it's an issue which we find reasonably troublesome, but we're not going to adopt that. The only thing we have to do is to sponsor more seed companies, hybrid seeds, to multiply and sell hybrids to farmers in this country for the time being. Someday, when we have enough information and knowledge about GMO, we may decide for or against. The scientists here, in our genetic institutes here, say there's nothing wrong with that. I am in no position to say that I have decided that I'll adopt GMO. For now, I won't. And we're trying very hard to make sure that we don't get into the mainstream, because there are also other political issues. Some of the seeds coming have if you plant them, you must go back to the seed company to buy fresh seeds. So they may be creating a market for themselves worldwide, eliminate every competition, so nobody else can grow seeds. Then, of course, they'll take you hostage. Is that fair? What if there is a problem behind GMO? What if there isn't? We'll wait for time.
Honorable Minister, we must say thank you very much for coming on Hard Copy.
Thank you very much.
That's the program tonight. Feedback, questions, tweets and comments are welcome. Please use the address and handles showing on your screen. If you missed previous editions, you may log on to channelstv.com or watch on youtube.com/channelsweb. Thank you and Merry Christmas. Audu Ogbeh Ogun.